Hello, I'm so happy to have you here today. Today we're going to be talking about a few things I did in October to fill my cup. Starting off strong with host a skincare education session. Being part of that organizing committee was really important to me and really valuable because it reflected something I want to do long term. I know at this point in my life that it is my purpose to help people achieve their maximum well-being. When I joined med school, I really didn't know what I was doing there. I don't think my purpose is in the wards or in the hospital per se, maybe not 100%. What do you do when you're not physically ill? Mental health plays just as much, if not more, of a role in our overall life quality than physical health. People say as long as I'm not stressed, I'm fine. But what if your physical environment is the reason why you're feeling so down? Imagine if every time you wake up, you can barely look at yourself in the mirror because you don't like how your skin looks. I just felt so special knowing that I helped a few people learn a bit more about their skin, and they were able to procure products from like La Roche-Posay and CeraVe. That was really special to me. One thing I'd like you to take from this is that it doesn't matter whether or not you're clear about where you want to go. That little idea, that little feeling that you have, pursue it, because you have no clue where it's going to lead you to. I had no idea what was going to happen in that club. I have never heard or been in a club that was about mental health. People have this stigma around it, which is one thing I want to do. I want to break the stigma, but for you to break the stigma around something, you have to give people something they already like before bringing them towards the thing that they are afraid of. And now I have a bit more of a clue, but if you asked me that like 2 months ago, I still had no clue what I was doing. The biggest of achievements come from the smallest of ideas, and that idea, it only requires you to nurture it. Even if you don't know where it's going, tell the right people about it. The only reason I played a part in organizing the skincare thing is because I mentioned the club all the way like 2 years ago, and the person remembered and they were like, could you talk to this student and she could help you with organizing the thing. Plant seeds even if you don't know they're gonna grow. If you plant them and they don't grow, that's fine, but if you keep them in your pocket, you're sure they won't grow. At least 1 out of every 10 is going to grow, and that's better than them staying in your pocket. Second thing I did, which contradicts every single thing I preach, is studying for 12 hours straight. Why did I do this? I still don't understand, because it was a very impulsive thought. We had a long holiday of like 4 days, and on that Friday I did not study. On that Saturday I did not study. I was to study on Saturday evening, but I was so lazy. I didn't feel like doing it. Mind you, I had an exam on Thursday. So I go into YouTube and I'm looking for a nice cute study with me video, and then I saw one that's like 12 hours and I'm like, you know what? Why not? I start I don't even know how I did, but one thing I realized is that I am not made of glass. The only reason why I can't do some of these things is because I told myself in my head that I can't do it. Here, I really didn't look for a reason to do it or not to do it. I saw the video, I clicked on it, and I just got to work. And I got to hour 4, and I was like, will I really do this? Because at hour 4, it was like 2 p.m. And I'm like, am I not gonna sleep today? But I was like, oh, shit. We're not thinking about that. We started, we have to finish. I got to hour 9 and I wanted to give up because it was about 9 p.m. And I'm like, I have come this far in breaking my record, because the longest I've gone was like 5 or 6 hours. I have this one chance. I don't know when again I'll get the drive or the discipline to do this again. So I might just finish it, And so I went from the 9 hours and I reached the 12 hours and I felt elated. At this point, it didn't even matter what I was to get in the exam. Just knowing that I had studied for 12 hours straight was an achievement on its own. Unsurprisingly, I did get an 80% in that exam. That's the first time I've gotten an 80 since like first year. I'm in third year, by the way. So it was a great achievement, but it was an achievement even before it arrived, because I'm like, yo, I studied for 12 hours straight. I cannot believe I did that. I'm not doing that again anytime soon. I don't want to make it a thing because that becomes toxic productivity. But I think every once in a while in emergency situations, it's really important. The journey will give you so much more pleasure than the destination. And 9 times out of 10, if you enjoy the journey, the destination will bear fruit. We put so much emphasis on the destination where we're like, oh my God, I need to pass, I have to pass, I want to get this mark. And we do so much, we go above and beyond, to the point where even if we get a mark that is ever so slightly below that target, we're still not happy, because we think of how much we struggled, how much happiness we sacrificed, and we're like, regardless of the fact that what I got is good, it's not as good as I wanted it to be, and so I'm disappointed. But instead, you could take the journey and ask yourself, what about this journey could make me feel achieved? What about this journey could make me feel like my heart is full? How can I learn from this journey? And the moment that happens, you'll realize that the feelings you're chasing and the goals that you set for the journey while chasing a certain feeling are the exact same things that are going to guarantee you a good result. What I'm trying to say is there's two parts to this. There's the outcome and there's the journey. We have zero control over the journey, over the outcome, and ironically, it doesn't even give us as much joy or sadness as we think it does. I have heard people who get 90s, people who are rich, people who are successful, and they're not happy because you really can't control that specific fact. But what you can control is the journey. And again, ironically, whatever you do in the journey will decide whether or not you're happy. I have seen people in the same way have the most blissful journey, and once the outcome reaches and it's not so good, they're still happy because they learned so much about themselves. I've been taking more photos. Specifically, I had one at-home photo shoot where I just wore my nice blue dress and I went out to my very yellow balcony and put my phone in portrait mode and just started snapping pics as though it was the Met Gala. Yeah, I'm not a professional poser, but those pictures make me feel really confident because I'm like, yeah, that's me. I have to be honest, I feel like this hairstyle makes my head shape look weird. Like, I don't know, it's not serving what I usually want my head shape to serve, if that makes any sense. But yeah, either way, I don't think I'm doing this hairstyle again, especially not with these braids. These braids are heavy. Either way, I'm planning to chop my hair off in December. So stay tuned for that because I want to do a big chop. I relaxed my hair yet again in January, and after, like 2 days after I did it, I was like, yo, I don't think I want to do this anymore, which was sad because I had 7 months worth of new growth, and it's all gonna go because I relaxed my hair and I had the realization after the fact. So too bad. But yeah, stay tuned for December. It's probably gonna be like a short mini vlog about why I'm choosing to go back natural and how the journey has been so far and my fears. The last wash that I had, I tried to blow dry my hair before I got this down, and I was traumatized. I remembered all the reasons why I went relaxed in the first place. Yo, it's not easy out here. But again, stay tuned. I'm gonna tell you all about that later. Taking more photos has made me feel a bit more confident in myself. It's just like I can see myself on my goodies. I'm like, oh my god, girl, you look pretty. In the same way, it's allowed me to give myself grace when I don't feel as confident. I'll see a picture and I'm like, I don't think I look my best here, but that doesn't mean that my external appearance has changed. Yeah, it's the same face. So like, if today I feel like I look like the biggest model and then the next day I feel like trash, that doesn't mean that my face has changed. That doesn't mean my value has dropped. It just means that it's just not one of those days, and that's okay. It's okay not to feel your best, and that includes appearance. We live in a world influenced by our emotions, by our hormones, especially as women. And me taking a picture when I feel confident versus when I don't, and then I stay a few days later, and when I'm like, then I look at it objectively and I'm like, okay, it was just that angle, girl. No one looks good from like the TikTok scrolling angle. No one looks good in that. Learning my angles, just feeling like the main character in my story has helped me a lot. And also, I've been able to start my monthly photo dumps. I actually have a whole highlight time capsule for me. So it's like September, October, and I'm planning to do that every single month. I actually posted my very first Instagram carousel today. Yesterday I went to an art gallery, and I'm gonna tell you about that because it's one of the things I've done. Documenting my life, learning to appreciate the highs and lows that I feel emotionally, and giving myself grace because at the end of the day, I am human. It's okay for me to have the highs and lows. I allowed myself to be happy despite feeling sad. Me and my friend had planned to go to an art gallery a few months back, but our big backing adventures kind of got the best of us. We scheduled it for yesterday. I did not anticipate the level of emotional heaviness I would have felt yesterday. Me and my friend fell out. I was really sad and I was very triggered. I think I'm getting triggered right now. There was a conflict of interest between me and him, and he ended up choosing himself, which is normal, which is human. That's what 90% of us do 90% of the time, unfortunately. At the very least, I would have expected there to be a bit of gentleness and emotional consideration, and that didn't happen. Ever since that event, I've had that reminder almost every single day just because of proximity. Yesterday, it's like every single emotion I had been keeping to the back of my mind just came to the surface. I wanted to cry, like basically the entire mid-morning. In the afternoon, we're supposed to go to the art gallery, and my friend is really supportive, but I feel like they had this story so many times, and I wanted us to have a good afternoon. So impulsively, I met another friend of mine, and I just told her that I wasn't feeling okay, and so I talked about it, and I was very vulnerable. It made me feel like, regardless of who it is, I'm still going to be the third person. I'm going to be the one interfering with a situation, which is really not fair on my side. I knew that friendship was supposed to end way before it actually did, but I didn't have the strength to walk away. I knew what was right for me, but I really didn't do it. And I was beating myself up, and I have been beating myself up for months now. But I need to learn how to give myself grace when I don't have the strength to do what I'm supposed to do. Sometimes we know what's best for us and we still don't do it because our hearts and our minds aren't evolved enough to do so. And that's okay, that's what makes us human. The thing is, now I have the strength, now I have mustered up the courage to do what's right for me. And even though initially it hurt so much, I think reconciling with the idea that now I'm doing what's best for me should give me closure, and that if they couldn't see the value in our friendship so much so that they could throw it away for a possibility, not even a guarantee, they threw away a 2-year relationship for a hopefully my other desire works out. That really hurt me, but at the end of the day, that's their choice and that's their loss. And no one should have the power to make me feel like I deserve less than I am. What I lost was the illusion of how the friendship was. If it was as nurturing as I thought it would be, this would never have happened. So I think I should be grateful that that illusion broke. And now I'm free to like experience what I thought I was experiencing in that connection with people who are genuine about it, or with people who understand emotional value the way I understand it, or at least in a way that is compatible. Regardless of the trigger moment, I still had a beautiful evening. I learned quite a bit about art and got a reminder that I am in love with jewelry. The jewelry part of that whole tour was like my best part. Oh my god. I usually go for minimalistic jewelry, but just seeing those, yeah, I'm delving a bit into like jewel tones. I have a red set. I want to get a green one, of course, so emerald. But yeah, that's something that I may consider in the future. I also went to like a cinema for the first time in my life. Yes, the first time I went to a cinema, I was 21. Bite me. I watched The Conjuring, and now I'm 100% sure that I am completely immune to horror movies. It's scary, but like I expected it, so it's not so scary. Though I have to say, the ones that are like in games, because I do watch people like Ochizi and they like play scary horror games, those ones freak me out. Those ones make me uncomfortable. In honor of Suicide Prevention Month, we had an art exhibition followed by a candle lighting in honor of those who've been affected by suicide. So whether people who lost their lives to suicide, we wore black for their sake and for their remembrance, or the people who have been affected indirectly by their friends or their family losing their loved ones to suicide. If you're watching this, I want you to know that you are not alone. It does get better, because I think about where I was back in like 2019 to 2022 especially. It was really dark and I didn't believe it, but I always told myself things do get better. You will meet better people. You will have more control over what happens in your life. I felt like I was bound to a life I did not want. The endless grind, the endless hustle. I was in a national school where, as much as they're great and they produce results, those results come from trauma, not motivation. I would get 80s and I would get put down for it because like, where did you take those 20 marks? Why aren't you better than the person next to you? And when all of you are intelligent students, brains isn't really the factor. It's how many hours you can put in, how much you can sacrifice outside of what you have. And that's the thing I hate about competition. Why compete when you can collaborate? I can imagine now, there's so many people who are doing wellness and mental well-being. Why would I try to be better than the next person? Yet you, the viewer, is benefiting from getting both sides of the story. If you hear from me, you hear from the next person, then you get to decide which advice or which way of looking at things works for you. Which means that at the end of the day, the consumer benefits the most from all of us being the best. And so I will never be pro competition culture like ever again, because I just feel like it puts people who are supposed to be working towards a similar goal against each other. So you lose sight of what you stand for in the first place. I have to make sure that the other aspects of my life are still at the top, or rather they're just as important as my grades as a med student. I am trying my best to be engaged in my clubs, because after all it represents something I really want in my future. Like, I don't know what profession I'm gonna go in terms of medicine, but I know for a fact that wellness is going to be in my life for the long term, unless I fall and hit my head, man. I don't know much. I'm not a psychologist. I would want to take a course, but what I can say is what you say to yourself, what you repeat to yourself, eventually shapes what you believe. And so even if you don't feel it, even if you're at your lowest, just telling yourself that things are going to be okay is going to help in the long run. Reality changes shape to reflect what you've been telling yourself. Don't give up on life. We still need you here. We love you so much. I am so grateful to have you here today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.